Good morning. It is 10 a.m. on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Beecham will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you as a humble people and, Lord, people in need of your guidance. Lord, I pray that you would put your guiding hand on this court to make the wise decisions for the effect of our Wichita County citizens, Lord. Lord, we pray for our nation as we go through a leadership change, Lord. Lord, we pray that we would come together in unity, Lord, that our country would be run strong. We would return America back to American values, Lord. Lord, we just pray that you'd bless our first responders and those that are in harm's way in the military, Lord, that you'd keep them safe. Lord, that you would return them home to their families each and every day, Lord. We just ask your blessings on us all as we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. To join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone may be seated. Don't have any last minute presentations, do we? Okay. All right, then we will move along to public comments. It is 10:01, and we remind folks that Commissioners Court cannot take action on any item brought up during public comment, and we ask that comments be limited to 5 minutes or less. Does anyone have any public comments this morning?
I guess I will. This last Saturday, the Kiwanis Pancake Feed, I'm sure most everybody in here has been to it at least once. I think I've been to it over 40 times. It's very much a community thing. If you don't think that's a part of our town, it's incredible how many people go there, how many people you see every year. The 3:45 shift I've never done until this year, but unloading a truckload of sausage is a lot more work. There's no pictures in 4 in the morning. It's just working. But it is nice to see how many volunteers. You know, at 4 o'clock we had people waiting in line to volunteer. Yeah. So by the time we got really going, by 5, I would say that there was a lot of young people there, volunteers, but a lot of adults. It does take a lot of volunteers to put on a feed that size. So I was just thankful that everything went well, and I appreciate everybody coming out.
That shifts the one I worked last year. It is cold and it is early.
You know, it was not cold this year. They had the heaters fired.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's cold early, but it was a good time.
The event for the community that the whole community has to take part in to make happen. That's good. And
I was very glad there was I did not see any no political stands. And if and nobody really realizes how hard it is to go up there and work a full day on the campaigning side of that. Anybody that's an elected official would know that might be the hardest day of work you'll ever do in campaigning. I'll put it that way.
On the cement.
Yeah,
it is tough. But a great community event that we do every year, kind of like the Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah, it's one of 2 events that bring the whole community together.
And people do love it. So
that's good. Any other public comments this morning? All right. It is 10:04 and public comment is closed. That moves us to the consent agenda. There are 7 items on the consent agenda. And I am going to ask that we move consent agenda item number 4, motion to approve AT&T quote in the amount of $7,099.27 to run fiber cable to the Iowa Park Annex building to be paid for permanent improvement for funds determined by the county auditor. And I ask that we move that item to general business. Is there any objection to moving item number 4 to general?
No.
Mark's excited about that one. All right, with no objection, consent agenda number 4 is moved to general business.
I would like to bring up the fact, just to the public citizens, that the consent agenda items 5, 6, and 7 are tractors for our John Deere tractors. We're hoping that that's gonna continue to be a good deal for the county. What that is we're actually trading in 2 tractors and getting 2 more tractors for a total cost of $2 swap. That's I think they're $168,000 tractors or so.
2 or 3? There's 3 items.
Well, that's because
2 tractors on each item.
there's 2 tractors on each item.
Oh, okay.
Precinct, I believe precinct 1 failed to put theirs in. I'm not sure.
No,
But anyway, we're just trading those tractors. I'm hoping that we can continue to do that deal. If we can, that's a tremendous savings for the county. So we'll keep trying to get that done.
Yeah, that was not a typo. It's $2.
Yeah, and we can continue to do that as long as the model doesn't change.
But even a model change, I think they're talking about $200 or $300,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, so still a really good.
Right.
It's so good, I asked if I could do that personally. No.
He said Barry Mahler is not.
No.
With that, motion to approve consent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, to approve the consent agenda with the one item moved to general business. Do you have any questions or comments on any of the items or the motion? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, general business item number 1 is public hearing to discuss, consider, and/or take action on the amount of mandatory payments that the Wichita County Commissioners Court intends to require from local hospitals in fiscal year 2025. I'll note that it is 10:07 at the beginning of this public hearing. And Mr. Bob Hurt from United Regional is here. Bob, you want to talk about, give your annual talk on this?
Absolutely, absolutely. Good morning, Judge Johnson and members of the court. My name is Bob Pert, Chief Financial Officer of United Regional. I believe this will be my 7th time in front of the court as we're going through this process. I'd like to start with, we're very thankful of your support, along with the county treasurer and county auditors that work through us in this process. Basically, as from past experiences, what we're doing here is an LPPF, Local Participation Fund, and basically started back in 2019. Our state legislature passed legislation that basically allows organizations like this to access federal matching dollars. I appreciate the support that Representative James Frank had with this also. Basically, these matching dollars allow the hospital to access federal dollars that help us pay for some of the unreimbursed costs associated with caring for Medicaid patients and self-funded patients. Our hospital is obviously the safety net facility in a 9-county area, so we bear the burden of that of those costs. As you stated, we're looking to pass a fee for the local private hospitals, as we've done in the past. This year, the percentage is 5.76, and basically that's on the net patient revenues of the hospitals. I have spoken personally with all the hospitals, and as in the past, we're all in support of that effort. Critical funding associated with that, major dollars, and again, open-ended questions or comments that you may have associated with this ongoing program that I believe the majority of private hospitals are doing in the state of Texas in order to access this. It's a function of the federal government has the Affordable Care Act. State of Texas is not expanded with that, so this is kind of the substitute for that the state of Texas is used to access those federal dollars.
Bob, do you know how that rate compares to last year?
Well, I could get back to 24, flip back just a little bit.
Sorry.
It's just, I think it's a little bit higher this year, and again, it ebbs and flows based upon the the matching dollars, sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower, how much dollars you need to bring down the dollars. That changes a little bit, the FMAP as they call it. And then the programs, oh my goodness, you've heard of we've got the LPPFs and all the alphabet soup, but I wouldn't want to bore you with all the different acronyms of different programs of starting, but it does go up and down throughout the time periods.
But, so the FMAP, the state figures that and then hands that down to y'all, and y'all just.
Right, there's a number of methodologies that work, but basically from our standpoint, these dollars start from the local private hospitals back to the LPPF. LPPF sends the dollars up to the state. The state sends those dollars to the federal government. The federal government then sends those dollars back to the state. Some of them come directly to hospitals, some of them come through insurance companies, managed care organizations that manage the Medicaid program.
It's efficient.
It's a quite involved process, but open to any questions that you guys might have.
Everybody likes their cut.
Yeah.
And have you heard any rumblings that there'll be any changes to this program coming out of Austin this session?
As far as this,
As far as the LPPF?
none whatsoever.
So,
I get a lot of questions on this. Why we're taxing the hospitals? Why are y'all making money off the hospitals? And we're not. We're getting $20,000 administrative fee in order to do the paperwork for the program. That's all that's coming back to the county, which
Absolutely.
just barely offsets the cost
right.
of managing the program. So it's not additional tax dollars or revenue to Wichita County. So.
Correct.
Any other questions for Bob? Okay, Bob, thank you for that presentation.
Yes.
Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on, for, or against the item? Okay, then it is 10:12 a.m. and this public hearing is closed. That brings us to item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve resolution setting the fiscal year 2025 mandatory payment rate for the Wichita County Healthcare Provider Participation Program.
What's
So
it?
moved.
What's that rate?
It's 5.76%.
Set the rate 5.76%.
Okay. I think Commissioner Mahler
I'll
made the
second.
motion,
Yeah.
seconded. Okay. Commissioner Mahler has made the motion, Commissioner Beecham has seconded to approve the resolution setting the mandatory payment for fiscal year ending 2025 as 5.76% of net patient revenue in Wichita County. Anyone have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Bob, thank you very much. You're welcome to stick around, but you're also welcome to go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. Item number 3 is a public hearing to discuss, consider, and/or take action on the proposed Wichita County subdivision regulations. It is 10:13, and we will open up this public hearing. Before we get rolling, I'll just introduce this and then ask Commissioner Kincannon to say a couple of things. But as a reminder to everyone, last April, we debated adoption of subdivision regulations, and at that time, based on stakeholder inputs and concerns that were expressed, we decided to go ahead and appoint a committee, including stakeholders, subject matter experts, and 2 commissioners to iron out those concerns and get us a good product for subdivision regulations. So this document that we're debating today is the culmination of that work. I will just point out, I'm sure y'all noticed it, but the RV section, recreational vehicle section, was pulled out of this to be its own separate document because the regulations to deal with it are different enough that it would be a good idea to pull that out. Commissioner Kincannon, do you want to briefly discuss the committee process?
Question real quick.
Yes.
Are we bringing that back quickly? So,
I hope so.
because that's the one that
That's the one that needs
concerns
to be
me
quicker,
the
yeah.
most.
think that depends on how you define quickly.
Yeah, okay.
But
Not another year.
no, not a year.
And Mark, one of the big holdups with that is, right now, if you wanted to do an RV park and jam them all in, you can't get water service for that. So, you know, right now, it requires you to have 100-foot frontage in front of each, adjacent to the roadway in order to establish that, so it just kills it.
Per meter.
Yeah, per meter.
Yeah, so right now it'd be almost impossible to do it anyway.
So the water
Off of this existing, off of what we're passing now, it would be difficult to.
for the RV project, as soon as Wichita Valley's kind of waiting on us to develop the plan, because their tariff doesn't allow them to sell meters like that for, if you wanted to put in 20 home or 20 RV spots somewhere, they're not gonna give you the water service.
And we do have regulations on the books now. The ones that were adopted 2 years ago
Right.
are still in place. Those, the point being, those are unworkable and need to be.
Yeah, but we've all seen the horror stories from
Yep.
out of West Texas
Yeah.
where the pirate RV parks popped up in the oil boom. And
Yeah.
with no water service, no sewer, and they were running raw sewage out onto the ground.
Yeah.
So we definitely want
Well,
to
there's
get on
plenty
top
of.
of that. No, I get it. No, I just,
There's some state regulations that.
I know there
The
are.
health department should
I
have
know,
jumped in
and
that
they know
too,
that, but it was a mess for the county to clean up after
Yep.
the fact.
Right.
So yeah, I think everyone knows that's a time-sensitive thing, and
Right.
so, yeah. All right, Commissioner Buchanan?
And I'll back this up a little bit. Not only did we started having some business meetings dealing with these subdivision regulations that I'm sure some of y'all had to sit through, and I'm sorry because they went on forever. We did go back and, once we realized that truthfully, governmental bodies sometimes try to make laws when they don't really have all the information. And that's a problem that I saw with that, the way we were trying to do it, just let the commissioners do it. That's the whole reason we put together the committee, get some engineers, some developers, some architects, people that know a lot more information than we know as commissioners to help put this subdivision regulations together. We met on, first meeting was July the 23rd, the second meeting was October the 9th. We had great feedback, but you realize that most time developers are wanting to get everything they can in the subdivision policy to help them out. Everybody that's in there wants the things that benefit them the most to be in that. So and it's a very long document. There's a lot of different ways to interpret different things, but we have one gentleman here that was there for all the meetings, that was a great asset, and I'd be willing to ask him to speak here in just a little bit, but there's still a few things about this subdivision policy that I truthfully don't like right now. But it is the best that we've come up with so far. And it's hard to catch everything when you're reading through it because you've read so many different versions of it. But Jeff has been involved a lot in different cities dealing with stuff like this. So one of my biggest things is my biggest thing going into this whole thing is I don't want to take on added costs for the county. And I was very explicit in all the meetings that the county, as far as the road and bridge side of it, we don't have a lot of extra funds to expend to extra projects inside of that subdivision policy. So that's kind of how it's gone. Van Dotson has been the one coordinating everybody together and trying to keep up with all the different versions. And I commend him for that because there has been probably 13 different versions that he's had to piece together to get us where we're at right now. But I would say that it's really close. There might be a couple of things we have to change, but this thing is written in a way that we can change it anytime we want to. I mean, if we want to put it back on the agenda and change a certain part of it 2 weeks from today, we can do it.
Yeah.
We just
Have to have another public hearing if it's
Yeah.
substantive, but yeah.
But I mean, we'll have to have public hearings to do it, but we can change it. I think but we do have to get something in place to alleviate some of these things from happening, because I do believe we're right on the verge, Wichita County is, to having some big businesses coming here that might really inspire people to want to do some subdivisions or RV parks or something like that outside the city limits. So that's where we stand.
Commissioner Watts, did you want to add anything?
No, I think that's very good. It
Okay.
was well-rounded, and we appreciate Van staying hooked on it and getting us all coordinated. That worked well, and I think we've got a better document than what we started with for sure, and we'll have other changes, I'm sure, across time to develop and put in there, but those, I think we've got a good working document now.
Needs change and technology changes.
Sure.
I mean, that's why you've gotta have a working document that you can go back and address, because, boy, I'd hate to predict where we're gonna be 12 months or 24 months from now. You just
Yeah.
can't do it.
Before, oh, go ahead, Commissioner.
I'll just say, it's good work on
Okay.
everyone did a great job.
Before opening it up for public comment, because I want them to have the opportunity to weigh into what I'm about to bring up, was reviewing this, and yeah, I do. Van, appreciate your hard work on this, herding the cats, and then making all the changes in the document. Commissioners, I appreciate both of y'all, the time investment, all of our folks who were part of the committee. I sat in a couple of these meetings before the committee was formed, and it's in the weeds, and it's important stuff.
And just one quick thing.
Yep.
We did shrink it tremendously. County government doesn't want to be known as a body that we want to make more laws. We don't want to make laws, we don't want to make regulations, we don't want to take on more inspections, we don't want to take on more. You live in the county for a reason. You live in the county because you want to get away from regulations. So this document doesn't deal with individual home sites or anything like that. It doesn't affect people that just want to move in the country and
Yep.
build them a shop next to their house. This really doesn't play a role in it. Only deals with subdivisions. So we really narrowed it down to get it to as little as we could.
Yeah, no, it's a good work, because we do want to encourage development of affordable housing in the county, and housing in general. My only concern with the document as it stands now is in section 3.4, which I think y'all all should have it, but if you don't, I'll give it a chance to get there. So 3.4, the way it reads in this version of it is, the heading is plat approval is not acceptance of roads and streets for public maintenance. But then the next four sections, and I'll just read I'll read 3.4A. Approval of a developer's application and filing of the plat constitutes conditional acceptance by the Commissioners Court of all roads and streets within the subdivision for maintenance by the county, effective after a warranty period of 1 year from the date of completion of construction of the roads and streets, said date to be certified by the Commissioners Court. And then the next three sections hammer out more details on that. I just personally am not comfortable with the county automatically absorbing
Right.
internal roads and streets as public spaces and as county being county maintained. And I don't know if there was because the subject line is not acceptance and then the rest of it is, so I don't know if there was a miscommunication there, but I am going to strongly encourage this body when we get to the next item, which is actual action on it, that we remove the language that's in 3.4 now and replace it with the original language, which made it clear that approval of a developer's application does not mean that the Commissioners Court accepts any roads or streets within the subdivision for maintenance by the county, and then leaves that decision up to the Commissioners Court based on a petition.
Right.
And I believe that was an oversight, because the people in that committee know I was very blunt that the county court we didn't want to do any kind of auto takeover of streets.
Right.
I was-
And we'll certainly maintain them after they've been
Yeah.
adopted.
But they
Right.
need to go through the process of being individually adopted by the court.
So I don't know, again, wasn't part of the committee's discussions on that. That would be my only substantive suggested change that we make to the document as it is laid out and presented here.
So you're dropping,
So, and I'll actually make state it when we get to number 4, but the current 3.4 language would be removed entirely and replaced with the original language, which made it clear that County is not accepting maintenance responsibility for the roads and streets
Not automatic.
automatically.
You
And then-
could, but it's not.
Correct,
Well, what you run into there, somebody came in and say, developed an area and had curbed and guttered concrete streets. We don't
can't
have
maintain
the
them.
funds or the technology to maintain and match that. I mean, we'd be taking on something that we don't really have the expertise, equipment, or personnel to maintain. And I don't think we can take on something we're not equipped to do.
So with that's my only change I wanted to put out there for discussion in the public hearing. Do any of the commissioners, do any of y'all have any other changes to throw out there for discussion so that the public can also interject if they? Okay, so with that, I will open it up to members of the public who wish to speak on the proposed subdivision regulations. Thought we might have one taker. For the
Hey,
record, if
thank
you'll
you for-
identify.
Yes, my name is Blaine Boswell. I'm the engineering operations manager at Corlett Probston Boyd. And I was on the committee for this. I want to say, first off, thank y'all for that opportunity. I mean, this is a great microcosm of government. You think about this, we had regulations presented. We formed a committee of stakeholders in the public, like you said, matter experts, developers, commissioners, and we made this one document, less laws, that better fit our needs in Wichita County. I do want to echo what Mr. Fincannon said there about the streets. That was the goal, was to not automatically accept any streets for the county to maintain. I do know that there's a lot of interweaving, right? So we have water supply corporations, we have county, we have maybe even some areas that would be tied to outside city water sources too. So there's a lot of cohesion that had to happen with this document, and I think that we've gotten to a point that it'd be fairly well for Wichita County right now.
And I will ask you a question, because this came through like this. I was pretty blunt as far as saying that I didn't want the county to be automatically taken over any
Correct.
roads.
It won't surprise any of the folks that were on the committee.
Not at all,
My
not
proposed
at all.
change.
Because, yeah, I didn't want to, if this came through like this, and all the committee members were given this document before we came to court today, so they all had a chance to read over it. So that's the only thing that really caught our eye, that not something that I wanted to start with. So you agree that I was more than obvious. Okay. I'm usually pretty blunt.
I can't
So
imagine you being outspoken about that.
I just don't want to, I don't want them to be surprised or come back later and say, well, that's not what you said there. Well, I was pretty.
Well, and to build on that point and the point you just made, this is not the end of the document or the end of communication. One of the things that's clear if you go through this is that there is communication involved throughout this process. The whole premise of it is the developer's going to come in before they really start down the road, meet with the commissioner of the precinct that's involved, talk through challenges, talk through everything at the front end to save money and time for everybody. Again, the point of this is not to create undue burden on folks. It's to get everybody moving in the same page for responsible development. So,
Matter of fact, I want to push for development in the county.
yeah.
But we have to just do it in a way that'll work. That's the only thing. I mean,
And we're gonna run into things we never dreamed of.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
and
But
they
that's a
do every
scenario.
day.
I can envision where some developer comes here, let's say some of these things during the works happen and we get 500-600 jobs that we need like that. Hey, someone could come here and say, hey, I'm gonna put up 10 million and build a subdivision. That might be willing to, move some regulations to make that happen.
Yeah.
You made Tommy smile just mentioning it.
Commission, again, thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks for
Blake.
coming and for participation. All right, do we have any other member of the public who wishes to speak on this? Anything else, commissioners? Okay. It's 10:29, and the public hearing for proposed Wichita County subdivision regulations is closed. That moves us to item number 4, which is discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and adopt the proposed Wichita County subdivision regulations. So now I will propose the current 3.4 in its entirety, A, B, C, and D, being removed and replaced with this language. Approval of a developer's application does not mean that the Commissioners Court accepts any roads or streets within the subdivision for maintenance by the county. The decision to accept one or more roads or streets within a subdivision will be made only upon a petition for road maintenance and a separate order entered into the record by the Commissioners Court. This condition will be stated on the plat and on all subdivided property records.
I would like to make that motion with that amendment.
Okay.
I'll second with the kudos to everybody who worked on the project.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to approve and adopt the proposed Wichita County subdivision regulations with the proposed change to 3.4. Do we have any questions or comments on the item or the motion? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Yes, thank you to everyone involved for the work on this.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Now we will move to the item that was pulled down to general business from the consent agenda. Motion to approve AT&T quote in the amount of $7,099.27 to run fiber cable to the Iowa Park Annex building to be paid from permanent improvement with lines determined by the county auditor. I can either ask my questions or actually I'll turn it over. Commissioner Beecham, do you mind just quickly explaining what this is for?
Yeah, this is to reconnect the state computer system for Tommy's tag office in Iowa Park. It's the only thing that will be on this particular cable is that state computer system. It's been quite an adventure to get to this $7,000 figure.
What did it start out at?
30,000. We've had multiple discussions between Brendan, myself, and AT&T. We got the second figure was 9,000 something. It was almost $10,000 for the second proposal. This is the third proposal. It's actually probably not going to be the full 7,000 after discussing with them last week yet again. Essentially what the project is to put in or pull in 30 odd feet of single strand fiber. Wichita County's doing the civil side work, meaning we're putting the conduit in the ground for them. All they have to do is hit the conduit and go into the building and terminate. So this is for 30 foot of single strand fiber.
So let me ask this, and this can either be for Brendan or for you, Commissioner. It's for 30 feet of single strand fiber to install that, to reconnect to the state network. And the quote has $3,120 for construction labor and $2,175 for contractor expense.
Plus materials.
And there's another $1,200 for materials.
Yeah.
But $5,200 essentially for labor to not do any soil work, to not do any digging, to...
They have to do a little bit of digging at the entrance point to the conduit.
How much digging? I'm not.
No, I mean, I think I would suspect a couple of shovels full, just men with shovels, not tractors. I would guess. I don't know where
Depends
their
on how deep it is.
I don't know where their actual cable is in regards to where they're going to have to hit from. I mean, they've got cable right adjacent to the pole. I don't know how deep it is and exactly where it is.
So $5,300 for a couple of shovels full of dirt, 30 feet of cable. It just strikes me, and of course, Commissioner Beecham and I have talked about this, Brendan and I have talked about this is not a criticism either of them in any way. But even on the letter of agreement and the estimate of cost AT&T has provided, I mean, they acknowledge that the county will be doing construction that includes demolition of wall where this equipment is located, and they need an engineer to advise what would be required to remove the current demarcation and cost associated.
It's already gone.
Engineers are professionals, they should be paid well, I understand that, but $5,300 for what seems to me to be probably a half-a-day job at most just seems exorbitant, and I have a problem with it. Brendan, you mind providing a little more context to where I might be wrong?
No, you're not. It's AT&T. You get them involved, you expect to pay more. It's just the way they work. But I think as far as what they have to do when they come out, like Commissioner Beecham was saying, the price will likely go down once they see how much work they have to do. I don't know if they have to bring out a truck. I don't know how far they're gonna have to dig. If they bury it 2 feet or 3 feet down, how much they have to remove, or if they have to, really, they don't know. I think that's why they make it so high, is 'cause that's the worst case. If they have to dig out the entire area to get to the fiber, or if they'd have to do quick, they'll adjust it. But I think that's worst case.
Yeah, that estimate's based on over 100 feet of cable material, so.
And they
Which
don't,
is not the case.
and they send subs out to do it, and there's somebody bidding this that's never seen the job, or doesn't have a clue what to expect, and they are the only show, so.
Yeah.
And I think
When
We're
you're
all
when
frustrated
you're the
with
only cowboy, you get to set your price.
and I get it, I guess, and I'm not going to be opposed to it because it's something that Tommy's folks will need for their operations. We are tied because of the state contract that it's got to be AT&T, so we can't even put it out there. I would just like to ask the auditor's office, Commissioner, you, and I know you will, Brennan, everybody, let's watch this one when it comes back and maybe have another conversation again. Just I don't like the idea of
No, it
Because
needs to
we're a
come back at a
government entity.
at a less rate than that. What concerns me even greater than this is the original $30,000 estimate. So if that's typical of the rest of the state's probably paying these $30,000 estimates without batting an eye because no one's looking at it. So that kind of infuriates me, and I hope the state takes better care of our dollars than just paying these off, because it like I said, it's the only game in town. It's the only thing we're allowed to use. So that 30,000, when Brendan and I saw that, this is insanity, total insanity.
Commissioner, and Tommy, you too, we have it now, we're up and operating, or have been. What are we?
We're moving it to a different location in the building, which is actually closer than.
It's not that much difference, because we're not moving to the other end of the building.
No, we're moving it closer.
Yeah, that's
We're-
what the municipal say at the entry. I mean, when you get this
It's
back down
the-
to the lowest common denominator, we're talking about 30 feet, not 300 feet,
Yeah.
the length of football field.
Yeah, when I first
30
saw
feet,
that, I thought,
$30,000.
well, have we changed, are we moving that tax deal to the other end of that? I mean, that's what confused me, it's been there and it's been operating.
If we were allowed to do it, Brendan and I could go out there this afternoon and have it done for less than $1,000 and be done in an hour.
I'd help you dig the hole.
And again-
Is that's an accurate statement.
You find that over what hit Matt's mailbox and knock a hole in the wall, that's not.
And in the big scheme of things, I know that this is a very small part of what AT&T does. They may have been giving us a worst case scenario. All that may be true, and that's why I would say, let's just watch it and see what it comes back at. And
I agree, Judge, we need to keep an eye on this. This is one of those deals where we do because we can. I think I'm right.
because this is tied into the Mars Patriot item we approved last week to do the civil
To
work.
do
on
the
it,
civil
correct?
work.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a double whammy. I was hoping that it wasn't. I was hoping that AT&T estimate included all the civil side as well, but it does not.
Okay, thank y'all for humoring me on my frustrated questions.
I'd like to do that myself. I just want to make sure everybody knows how opposed I am to this.
So be my motion to begrudgingly approve.
So when you first see it and you see
So-
quote, you think that's what the bill's gonna be, so
Yeah.
that's really not necessarily true. I assume that. I
From my
shouldn't.
last discussion with them, it's,
Yeah,
they will credit us for the unused materials and time.
Probably after a couple of prompts of us watching it when
Yeah.
it comes back and going, are you sure about
Yeah.
this? We've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to approve the AT&T quote in the amount of $7,099.27 to run fiber cable to the Iowa Park Annex building to be paid from permanent improvement. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0 begrudgingly. All right, item number 5 is review and approve the regular bills for payment. Verify payroll taxes have been filed. And order county treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
So moved.
second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, to approve, verify, and disperse. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. There's one abstention. There being 4 ayes, 0 nays, and Commissioner Fincannon abstaining. The motion carries. Item number 6, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the January 21st, 2025 regular session and the January 24th, 2025 special session.
So, second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, to approve and ratify the minutes of the January 21st, 2025 and January 24th, 2025 sessions. Have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Item number 7, motion for advanced approval of purchase of refreshments for our regional Texas DMV licensed dealer training that will take place February 5th at the Wichita County Courthouse. Tommy, the moment you've been waiting for. Do you mind presenting on this?
Always enjoy. I appreciate Matt putting on a jacket for this presentation. No, listen, we've done our best to keep our liaisons in the loop on this deal. As of this morning, our numbers on this are at 74. The reason why I did not put a dollar amount, gentlemen, is that, again, we're trying to get the best possible number we can. We're gonna run our RSVP up to the 3rd and have our school on the 5th. Clay County, Monte come on board this morning, Young, we're gonna have a regular tax assessors here from our 18-county region. We have 111 dealers that our office services, not counting what these other 18 counties do, so I think probably we'll be in the ballpark of 100 in attendance. We've got a great room. This multi-purpose room has been the best thing to come to county government in a long time. We gotta get with Brendan to make sure that all our audio and video stuff works on that day, because, as most of y'all know, audio and video will make a clown out of you every time. Get ready to put on a presentation, but nonetheless, we're willing to pay for this out of our budget. I don't, as far as the number, I really don't see the expenses going over $350, and I'm kind of pulling that out of thin air, but I'm trying to give myself a little bit of a wiggle room as to, we don't know how many who will actually RSVP, and actually how many may show up and want to go to school anyway. So, this is a kind of a one-time deal, as far as us doing something on this scale, this amount of people, but again, title work in the state of Texas, July the 1st, for all 254 counties. The way title work is going to be moved in the state of Texas electronically, and we're going through a whole new business model. And we've got to get our dealers trained and our staff trained, and they're going to teach both modules. We're going to start school at 9 o'clock that morning, have it over with before noon. Everybody can get a bite to eat and get back to their respective jurisdictions. But we're just asking for your consideration on the nature of the expense, because again, it is a little bit out of the ordinary. But as far as who's going to actually pay for it, the expense itself, we certainly don't mind as usual. Anything we can absorb in our own budget, we always try to do, Judge.
Matt, you probably need the motion to include declaring it a public purpose, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think 350 would more than cover it.
I believe so, Judge. I mean, I don't have any reluctance in that.
Okay. And you are doing this so that you can get one crack at nearly everybody that's there, so that you're not having to do this multiple times over the next.
Exactly. We're trying to get, they're gonna teach both modules, and again, you know, if we do not try to, get our dealers trained up July the 1st, we're gonna have 111. I don't know that all, you know, some vindicated that they may actually, I mean, you've got people been in the car business for a long time, a lot of independent dealerships that may at some point in time say, listen, we're gonna go ahead and go to the house. But I think that fundamentally speaking, all our major franchise, all our major business lines, and are gonna come online with this, basically this statutorily mandated. Forever and a day, we've had most of our dealerships on Web Dealer Judge for about probably 9 years. I mean, and so we're way far ahead of the curve. A lot of these counties have, their offices have not encouraged web dealers, so we've brought dealerships on voluntarily, and now it's no longer voluntary. The state of Texas, if Barry owns a Chevrolet dealership, we're looking at Barry and saying, listen, your title work is gonna be submitted through web dealer. It's almost the same function as when some of us in law enforcement in here was that when we submit all this paperwork electronically, and it would go to our supervisors, Van being one, and Van would either approve it or not approve it, then send it back for us to be approved, and then it's a done deal. So you end up going to a very clean system. But the entire state of Texas, 254 motor vehicle offices, that's how title work's gonna be done. So it's a major curve for anybody who's not been involved in it up to this point. We've been lucky that we've been doing it for almost 9 years because we encouraged, we got Lipscomb and Pruitt and the Patterson Family Foundations and foundation after the Patterson family and the Ford House. We've got all of our major and several motorcycle dealerships. So the basis is there, Judge, but this is a good time to teach both modules, have everybody come in, because if not, on July the 1st, there's gonna be a lot of people that are deficit on the learning curve, Jeff. So.
If you don't get them trained up, you'll need another $8,000 fiber optic line.
Well, we send 2 or 3 of our folks out of town to a different county for this training, we're gonna easily eclipse that, so.
Yeah, so,
I'd make the motion that it is a public purpose and to cap it at what, 350?
Second.
It's a public purpose for us and for our dealers.
for everybody. I mean, it's,
It helps everybody.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Muller, to approve purchase of refreshments for the Regional Texas DMV licensed dealer training that will take place February 5th at the Wichita County Courthouse, as being for a public purpose and capped at $350. Is that good?
Yes, sir.
But any questions or comments on that motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Tom, thank you very much.
appreciate it. Hey, on a sidebar note, while I got the mic,
Oh, no. Hit the mute
hey, I
button.
wanna inform the court and, as a whole, that it has been a pleasure this last week. Matt's office, with what we've been involved in with some banking difficulties. Matt has been engaged with our staff daily and even after hours, and it has been a blessing to have that type of engagement from our auditor's office. And I wanna give kudos to Matt and his staff, and we got all of our disbursements made yesterday, so it's one thing to collect it, but once we collect it, we gotta do something with it. And so, I wanna thank Matt publicly for the way he's worked with our office, judge, and commissioners.
Thank you, Tom.
Judge, if I can, just one question, how's, registration's going okay without the inspection deal, any changes?
You know, we still have, you know, we still have a lot of phone calls, Barry, and if you're standing out in the lobby in the morning, and somebody says, listen, I mean, when the general public has been doing that for so long, it's hard, you know, there's still some that just, they haven't got it. I mean, so we do the best, we're still trying to promote that website wise and social media wise, and I think me and the judge talked about this in a while back. I mean, no matter what you do, you've still got a certain segment. It just takes a while to.
Well, I like it a lot better.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
There's less time involved.
Yeah, it's less time.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna end up being unsafe streets or anything, I think it'll work itself out, but it's for the person that's out there doing it and has a lot of them to do, it's a lot better now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Good report.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Hey, Judge, you had an internet issue, so the stream stopped. We
Okay.
have it recorded, so we will upload. It's back up now.
We're back up now.
But we'll just re-upload after the meeting, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Okay. All right. Item number 8, discuss, consider, and take action to amend Court Order 22.1031.749 for authorization of a $24,000 budget transfer from the Sheriff's 2025 budget to the CDA's 2025 budget. Matt, did you put this one on?
Yes, sir.
Do you mind explaining?
Absolutely.
A 3-year-old court order that we're amending?
So, in October 2022, we had 2 CDA vehicles that were transferred from the CDA to the Sheriff's Office, 2 2016 Chevy Tahoes. At that time, the county issued a check for one of those Tahoes from the district attorney from the sheriff to the district attorney's office because it was a forfeiture vehicle, and that vehicle was $26,000 that they agreed to pay to the CDA. There was an additional Tahoe transferred, but it was a county vehicle going to the sheriff's office, the county department. At that time, the sheriff's office and CDA had agreed to take that one off their hands for $24,000. Each office had agreed that they would do a budget transfer of $24,000. Unfortunately, that did not make it on the agenda on the October 31st, 2022 agenda. So the $24,000 never got made from the sheriff's office budget to the CDA's budget. And again, this is just a wash because they both fall within the general fund, but this item is needed to basically make the CDA whole for.
But whole in the budget 3 years later.
Yeah.
It was just overlooked
Yeah.
at the time.
So is it
Cleanup.
money they're gonna realize in this fiscal year?
They're going to use it, I believe, to look at purchasing a vehicle, which I think was already on the budget, I believe.
Huh. That seems
The
awful.
sheriff's office or the
No, the
DA?
CDA. The sheriff's office will be out the 24,000. CDA will gain it in their capital expenditure budget.
Okay.
Uh,
There was no, at least to my remembrance, there was no DA vehicle purchase in the budget, but it's been a while, I could be misremembering, so.
Either way, it's just cleaning up an old court.
yeah, but you don't go back and grab money
Right.
out that's addition to what's already budgeted from another fiscal year. If
And-
so, I wanna go back to my first year and I want all my money back that I couldn't use my first 2 years.
Yep.
Cause I wasn't allowed to by our former auditor.
Now, this is just taking action on an item that was not previously taken action on.
And I know the sheriff's office, I checked when I saw this, like, have y'all seen this? They're not contesting it.
No, I'd confirmed with Chief
It's just-
McFerrin that,
This is odd
yeah,
to grab money from 3 years ago and supplement the
yeah,
current
it's just
budget.
working as a budget transfer for 2025.
Yeah, the money you're grabbing is current dollars, and it'll reduce the sheriff's ability to buy and increase the DA's ability to buy.
Right.
Why not, and this is, sorry, this is the only place we can all discuss it, as everyone knows. Why amend the old court order and not just make this authorize a transfer of the money?
Well, I'd done that for just the transparency purposes of saying what it was for, because there was an actual vehicle exchange.
Okay.
That is the result of this transaction needing to be recorded on the books.
Okay. It's better for your purposes to do it this way,
Yes, sir.
for the auditing of it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it is irregular, that the budget, the office that it's coming out of isn't putting up a fight, and, okay. Questions on the item? Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Y'all just wait till next week, Commissioner Beecham has an item for $1 million coming out. All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, to amend Court Order 22.1031.749 to authorize a $24,000 budget transfer from the Sheriff's 2025 budget to the CDA's 2025 budget. Before we vote, Morgan, when we go back and make a note of this in the minutes, we're going to be seeing into the future.
That's true. Every time we do it, we will.
It's weird. Okay. Just all right. So we've got any questions or comments on the motion or the item?
Does it need to say capital budget in that?
Yes. the
Okay.
capital expenditure budget. Yes. Since it was for the
I think what we're saying is we have confidence in our auditor and we're trying to get this straightened
I
out.
think that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
Because there would still have to be
We'll go with that.
a motion by the DA's office if they want to spend it. So,
Well, no, not. I mean, for anything over $5,000, it would be. But yeah,
correct. So,
yeah. My concerns aren't with how the money is being spent. It's just
Just the oddity of the
process.
The process is, just doesn't.
I'm not as quick on the uptake as y'all are. I got to talk this stuff through. All right, so the motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, is to authorize $24,000 budget transfer from the Sheriff's 2025 capital expenditures budget to the CDA's 2025 capital expenditure budget. Questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 9, discuss, consider, and/or take action on raising the current maximum allowable amount on road and bridge debit cards to allow for the purchase of fuel and supplies as needed by each precinct. This was submitted by Morgan, but I'm going to guess it was one of the commissioners.
Yes.
Okay, it's Commissioner Watts.
Yes, Judge. We have now more gas vehicles than normal, and we don't retain gas on the yard, so it requires us sometimes to be at a disadvantage. And this, by upping the amount on our card, which currently doesn't carry very much, it would allow us to make those purchases for gas for the precinct or various things that does come up from time to time. We had an issue the other day at Harbor Freight, and be something similar to that.
What is the current, what are you proposing for the new one?
I'm not, I was leaving that up to the auditor, I guess,
So
just
the
to.
current amount on each card is $500. And historically, it's only been used for tag renewals. But it is a general debit card. It does not have restrictions. So,
Except the restrictions that are in our policy, but
Right.
the store end doesn't know that.
right.
Okay. So it's currently 500. Do you have an amount in mind?
I think, I mean, the turnaround time on those, we get them paid each month, don't
Yes,
they,
sir.
and reduce that balance
Yep.
again? So if there were $1,000, that'd be,
Yeah, either 1,000 or 750, either way. Yeah.
well, I think he's running 2 trucks that are probably costing
could
$100
cost
to
$100
fill
a
up.
day.
You see what I don't know that you'd want to be at 500, 750 is not much of a jump. I can see him using it more than us, but just because you're running a couple of trucks that are gas. And I would rather support that than I had putting gas storage
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I think that's
Would 1,000 get you? do you
Yeah,
think?
I would think so. We can always go there and then look and see if that's a issue or problem, but
it seems like to me that the credit cards would be better than some of our, or the debit cards, better than some of our house charges, because it seems like on the auditing side of it, it's easier to track.
yeah, the house
exactly
charges
where you spent
get
and.
us really, they bog down, because like Brenda and them, Glenda tell me that ours turn in individual invoices for each charge, and so it ends up being a lot of work by the end of the month and approval of those different charges.
Well, and they're going away too. There's just a lot of companies not doing it anymore.
No, they're not
They did in the past.
is it our policy written by court order that we only use it for purchasing tags? Or is that just a handshake
It's just the way
agreement?
it was done.
Okay.
I think that the order on it previously was fuel and supplies. I think this is the same language, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, and then it became, no, only use it for tags.
Well, that's
But
because
there
that
wasn't a
was
formal
because the
court.
person
That was a
given the
departmental
rules.
decision.
That was,
not a
yes.
So
court.
do we need to include that as the motion
What's
that
in-
be used?
It's in the item that it would be
Fuels and
to allow
supplies.
for
Okay, I
the
got
purchase
it.
of
Yeah.
fuel and supplies.
Read, Mark.
Yeah.
Are we going to increase all road and bridge debit cards?
I think that, it would make sense to me that all road and bridge precinct cards would be at the same threshold.
Okay. So
Unless y'all disagree.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't
One other
necessarily
point
need it
is-
because we get all of our fuel from the city of Wichita Falls, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not-
but
we're
if
not
you had a
using fuel
flat,
card.
if you were up at,
Yeah,
say,
that's true.
you know,
If you're at,
Well,
if
we're
you're at
still-
Graham or DeLisi, we had to buy
Right.
a couple of tires the other day
Yeah,
in Graham,
yeah.
on the side of the road, so, I mean,
We're
that kind of
still
stuff would help.
equipped to do the fuel deal, and it's working fine, we're not problem it, but now the bigger picture, let's remember what this allows us to do. On 2 units, that's probably a $14,000 savings on the difference between gasoline, diesel, power, since we didn't need the other than a fuel convenience. So you gotta figure that into the deal
Yeah.
too, that's an important option to have, these vehicles are just, they're $7,000-8,000 difference between the two, so there's another reason to make it
Right.
convenient.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to approve raising the current maximum allowable amount on road and bridge debit cards to $1,000 to allow for the purchase of fuel and supplies as needed by each precinct. A good.
Can we say to exclude precinct 5? Because precinct 5 has a different balance.
let's put them the same, Matt, because that's where the card would come from typically if we're on the road hauling from DeLisi or Graham.
Yeah.
It would go to that card.
They go to the precinct 5,
Mhm.
and yeah, that one has 500 as well.
Okay, so it's for all precincts. Okay. Are there any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Tommy?
Judge, since they raised the amount on the card, can I raise the amount on my tags?
I think that's gonna have to be a separate item that you bring before the court.
I always suspected that.
Are there any other questions on this item or the motion? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, discuss, consider, and/or take action to keep or sell the Precinct 5 2021 Mack 15-yard dump truck. Commissioner Watts?
We have a low mileage truck that is still in great shape and it's very clean. And typically we maintain 2 15-yard trucks there and use everybody else's when time is right. And I had proposed that maybe we keep this truck and let it get a little more age on it and utilize it at least another year and just fit it in as we need to, even though our second dump truck is soon to be delivered. It's not gonna be long. The last one, and it tipped some of this just because of the softening of the market. We had some, we had a dealer buy the last truck, and, it kind of speaks to itself about what that's doing when we can't get full good retail for it. And I hate to give it away because it's so clean and 40,000 miles on it, and it's just, so I thought maybe we drive it another year and get the use out of it at least another year, maybe two.
It's a precinct 5 dump truck. Do all of the precincts use that truck?
During
don't
chip
use it
seal,
during
we do.
chip
but
seal. That's
Yeah,
only-
chip
that's-
seal
that's
is
one
is
thing
when we do.
The only thing is, I think you have a 15-yard, don't you? Do you have your own,
I have,
or do you have only precinct 5?
no, I don't think I have a 15. No, I have smaller ones.
I have.
I've got
Mine are
one.
smaller.
So
Barry, you
myself
got-
and Barry both have 15 yards. I don't think Jeff or Mark either one have 15 yards. I think the precincts should all at least have one of their own. Because that's just my personal opinion. I think if you have those dump trucks in precinct 5, or they are to all be in precinct 5.
Yeah.
Because,
That's really all they're used for is
Yeah.
chip seal.
well,
for
that's
the
not
most
all
part.
they're used for. I mean, we use them, if I'm going out here cleaning trees and bar ditches and stuff like that, I'm using a 15-yard too. So we use our 15-yard truck, but I don't think that, the reason I say that is if precinct 1 is using a precinct 5 truck or precinct 4 and something messes up and we gotta take it to Bruckner's, precinct 5's paying that bill. That bill's coming out of my pocket and I never used it.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
I mean,
that's
there's-
true
there's
if the
pros.
truck breaks down. Now, if you tear it up, that's a
Yeah,
whole
if you
different
tear it up,
story.
That's on your own. But if we have more maintenance issues than we ever have, well, I say that. I was gonna say more maintenance than tear up, but maybe that's not always the truth. But,
Not if we're keeping them new and,
right.
which is
I'm just
what
saying
we're
that's
talking about
something
here.
we need to keep in mind because I don't know that it's right.
Well, and that probably is a field of what this item's issue meant. So you're not wanting to sell it, you're wanting to keep it?
I'm wanting to keep it. I just feel the market's soft right now, and this truck's gonna bring 95,000, and it ought to bring at least 125 or more.
And I agree. It's smart to keep it in the county.
In the county. Yeah, see, I thought about buying it because we're trying to reshuffle and redo some trucks, and I just as soon have that one as anything else you could buy. And then we talked about it, as a matter of fact, when we sold one here, what?
Yeah, what,
2
3
months
months ago?
3 months ago, whatever it was.
Well, and I would think you wouldn't wanna buy it for yourself, the way that we got it now, unless we change policy, would be
I'll
used
just
at
use
precinct
it.
5. I mean, seriously, that's,
I like that a lot better.
But, Barry, they use more of a 6 and 8 yard truck when they're doing their stuff around the precinct. It's a big truck and
It's
it's
a big
kinda
truck.
hard to utilize for
A
that.
tandem
But it
doesn't-
makes a lot of
yeah.
difference going chip sealing to show up with the big load, which is, twice, maybe 3 times what a small dump truck can do.
Well, maybe we ought to sit down and review our whole program, and the other thing of it is, it costs the same money.
Yeah,
It's just-
Mickey's
it's
got a
just-
sister truck pretty close to this. Lee bought one back when we bought one for precinct 5. He jumped in there and bought another one, and so they are matching. And
well, then it sounds like there's an appetite when we put this on for a Friday session to talk
Yeah,
through the
gotcha.
whole
Yeah.
shebang.
and
Look at the whole program.
everybody might get their dump truck list together, and I'll get us I'll send it off and get it some dollars put beside it. I may have everybody's, but I can just confirm what I've got.
So if that's the case, we don't really need a
Yeah, we don't
motion
need
at
to
all.
take action. I mean, is there, I
No.
know you've weighed in, Commissioner Fincannon, Commissioner Muller, y'all see any reason to go ahead and try to sell it right now?
No.
Okay.
We're not motivated at all.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anything else on that, Commissioner Watts? Okay. Then with no action taken, we will move on to item 11, which is receive update on courthouse renovations and county courthouse annexes. Commissioner Meacham.
Yeah, the big news is I think we finally have a grand reopening date for the 30th. It's Friday, March 28th in the afternoon. Should have everything in by that time. Doors should be here, which is the big problem I'm waiting on right now.
The new doors?
The new doors. If not, we've got a backup plan, but everything else should be done. Waiting on doors, window shades, a couple light fixtures, and some odds and ends. Problem with the man lift. It didn't pass its inspection. I'm trying to get, it's an oddity why it didn't pass.
Okay.
But it can be fixed, so.
Well, the replacement doors, are those coming unfinished and then will be stained to match here, or are they coming?
Correct.
Okay.
That's the way they were ordered.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we got black doors. So,
Very stylish.
so maybe Iowa Park gets black doors or Burke Burnett gets black doors.
Oh, so they're letting us keep the doors for no
I
cost?
think so. I
Okay.
mean, that was the last I heard. We were keeping them.
I think Melvin was talking about wanting a black door for his office.
Yeah, so they would match. They would just like, so, yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, we're working on details of that, grand reopening or whatever we want
Yeah.
to call it.
On the 28th of
Rededication.
March.
Yeah, 28th, which is exactly 2 years to the date of the
Water
water
event.
release. So, annex, we're still finishing up the few remaining punch list items, including the exterior problems that we've discussed ad nauseum. So, Iowa Park, it's coming along really well. It's out there, been out there a couple of times in the last week. And
I was
they've
there yesterday, there was work going on.
got the bones of the walls up. We'll be starting sheetrock pretty soon, so you can actually see kind of what it's gonna look like at this point.
We gotta get that finished so that I can go get my tags before they go up.
I'm looking forward to seeing the gold-plated fiber optic cable. That,
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna take a lot harder look at fiber optic from now in the future, that's.
You know, here's the deal, fellas, hey, can you imagine running several miles of that?
Yeah. Good
Or
point.
whatever it took to get it to your business from the roadway or whatever, I can't even imagine paying for it.
Well, it's a lot less. A major part of my precinct in the last 2 months, a big strain of it, miles.
I've got a single strand of AT&T fiber running in my house. You know how much it cost me? Nothing.
You don't want to, because it was limited.
Yeah, cost me nothing to get the same thing, yeah. That's where, yeah. but-
Yeah. Anything else on county
No.
courthouse renovations
No.
or courthouse annexes? All right. Anyone have any questions? All right. It is 11:12 and court is adjourned.